Image using Photoshop. You can use vector images for many different things. For our purpose, we're going to be creating a logo for a computer graphics or a graphic design project. To start, you'll want to create a new image, which I've already done, but your sizes will need to be 4 inches by 4 inches. Make sure they're in inches, not pixels. Resolution is 200, and your background content is transparent instead of white or black. That way, whenever we put our logo on different things such as a business card or a poster, it will not have a white background behind it. So we could make this a little bigger if we want. To start off, we need to create a new layer. That way our shapes go on top of the background and not just are embedded in the background. With your layers box, the new layers icon is right down here. Click, and now you have 2 layers. You'll be wanting to start in the second layer. In your Photoshop, you need to make sure you are in this option, which is on the left. This option on your right, it will not fill in your icon or your vector with color. So you'll need to start right here, otherwise you'll get this beautiful logo drawn and it will not work for you. So make sure you're selected in this option. By default it usually starts there, so you have to click over to Shape Layers. These are the 4 tools that we will be working with. You have your Pen tool, which also includes a freeform pen tool, Add Anchor Point, Delete Point, and Convert Point tool. Your pen tool will be used to create very sharp edges, geometric shapes. Your freeform pen tool is just like if you were drawing on a piece of paper, so you're free drawing your vector. Your text tool you're familiar with. The cursor tool you will use to move around your shapes, and then we do have the shape tool. So if you need a rectangle or a square or a circle or a line, and this is where you'll want to go. You also have custom shapes. If you click there, up here you have many different shapes that would not be available to you with other options. To start off, we are going to make this simple little cupcake. It's not the best cupcake, but it's a cupcake. So I'm going to be using my pen tool, and I am going to add a point wherever I want a hard edge. So point right here, I'm making the cupcake liner. Point there, there, and there. Now it's an open form right now because I have not closed it, which is fine, but go ahead and click on your original starting point and that will complete the vector or the shape for you. You can change the color now by double clicking in this color layer and selecting your color, or you can change the color of everything before you started. Let me find a good little cupcake color. Sure. Okay. I now am going to do the cupcake top. It's going to look very strange because we have to manipulate it still. But that is the essential shape of my top. Go ahead and change the color, make it a little pink. It's not even. I'm okay with that. Now, the more points you add on a vector, the more complicated you can create your logo, or the more detailed. And also, if you are starting out very straight edged like we are, if you add points, you can make them curved. So I'm going to click on Add Points. And let's start with my cupcake liner. So I'm going to click on my cupcake liner. I'm going to hold down Option. Notice the little difference, the little plus sign there. And I'm going to I'm going to click my layer first. Okay. And I'm going to add, I'm not holding down Option right now. I'm going to click and it automatically adds a point on that line. I'm going to hold down Command. I'm going to take that point and I'm going to drag it slightly. And that creates a little bit of a curved line. I'm going to add another anchor point, not holding down anything, just clicking on the line. Hold down Command, drag it a little bit. This point is a little goofy, so I'm going to hold down Command, click on my layer, and I'm going to click on this point and drag it to where it needs to be since it's off a little bit. There we go. So we have a rounded cupcake liner. Going to click in my triangle, so my cupcake top. I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Go ahead and get in this cursor to move it. You can use your arrows or you can use your trackpad and mouse. I will need to create a lot of new anchor points for this because I'm going to have a lot of sections that cut into it. It's kind of like a little swirled cupcake top. I'm going to add an anchor point right here, wherever I want my cupcake frosting to start dipping in. A lot of doing vectors is trial and error, especially when you're first beginning, and that is a-okay. Okay, I have my 4 new points. I'm going to hold down Command, and I want to bring this in a little bit so it's kind of curved. Now you notice there's a square. Well, if you move this square, you're just moving it back and forth, shifting it. If you click on the circles, you can drag this like so, and you could also turn them so you can twist whatever vector you're doing. So I'm going to twist and pull a little bit so it dips in. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. I'm going to hold down this one. And again, it's just kind of trial and error to get what you want. And then we have one up here. I'm just going to move it slightly so it looks like it's a little dollop. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Bring it in a little bit. When you have many anchor points, it can get very confusing of what to click, and it's very easy to get lost in your vectors and your anchor points. Work on this one, clicking, see. Let's see. Okay, not the best example, but if I were to spend time making it perfect, we'd be here all day. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to add another anchor point here because I want to mimic the curving of the cupcake liner. So I'm adding a point, dragging that point down. Voila. Now I want to do little ridges or lines going into my cupcake liner to show some depth and texture. So I'm going to go back into my pen tool, and I'm going to select white. And I'm just going to create new little shapes. Doing that and then closing it. Look, they're in pink, not white. Closing it. If I don't close it, it's going to continue the shape throughout the whole thing, and it's going to look like a really weird shattered glass on top of it. Alright. So that is my very bad logo. Whenever you are done with your logo, You will not want to flatten it, because when you flatten it, it will lose the transparency of the background. But before I do that, I want to show you guys, we've used the pen tool. This is the free transform pen tool. This again is to create whatever design you want, free drawing it. It's not going to be part of my logo, I'm just showing you for instructional purposes. You're in your free transform pen tool, you draw whatever your little heart desires. If you want to free draw your logo or your vector, you knock yourself out. You draw it, you close it together by starting at the original point, and voila, you get your vector like that. You can use both of these at the same time. So if I did this with the pen tool and I wanted to go in with my free transform pen tool, or not my free transform, my free pen tool, I can hold down shift and then go into it, and it will create a shape on top of that. So you can use multiple of these at the same time. You can add text on top of it. You cannot spell cupcake right because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you can add text. Here are your shapes. Woo. Now all these layers, it's just like everything else that you've been doing. You can double click in this space to add drop shadows to your vector or to different layers by adding gradients. Where's gradient? You can make it have value going from light to dark. So you can do a wide variety of things. So I am done with my logo. I didn't spend much time on it, but this video doesn't want to be 30 minutes long either. So where you would go to flatten it, you're going to do the same thing to merge it. You're going to be clicking in this little corner. All these different options will pop up. Instead of clicking flatten, you want to click merge visible. And it still flattens it essentially, but it just preserves its transparency. Since we have a lot of extra space, let's go ahead and crop it. Here's your crop tool to get rid of all that extra space. And then double click. Voila. And then you can save it as a Photoshop file and then save it as a JPEG as well. Then you're done.